Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu students. I'm Sabir Hasnain, your science subject teacher from grade 8. We are discussing about electricity and energy, and we discussed. We are almost at the end of the chapter. Today we will discuss the last two. We will discuss last two topics, which is energy for our use and the energy problem, which is a bad news. Okay, I mean the energy problem, bad news. In previous lectures, we discussed in detail regarding energy arrows, power supplies, voltage, fuses, how we can find out electricity bill, how we can calculate the energy, and number of things. And today we will discuss about the types of energies we use every day in our life. If you remember, in previous lecture I told you about most of the world's energy come from the 5 major sources, and those are coal, oil, gas, water, and nuclear fuel. And from all these we will use coal the most, and we will use the nuclear fuel the least. It means the maximum energy we can produce by using coal, and we are producing in fact, and the minimum energy we produce from the nuclear fuel. And keep in mind, the electricity is produced in power stations by using these major sources of energy: coal, oil, and gas. We will use these fossil fuels to produce electricity through thermal power station. But when we use water, it means we will use hydropower station. So at hydropower station we use water to produce electricity, and at thermal power station we use coal, oil, or gas to produce electricity. And at nuclear power plants or nuclear power station we use nuclear fuel like uranium to produce electricity. So electricity is produced, in short, at power stations. Now, thermal power stations. Thermal power stations are basically most of the country produce their electricity using the chemical energy in coal, oil, and gas. Coal, oil, and gas has chemical energy, and similarly nuclear energy also has the chemical energy. Okay, so through that energy we produce heat. Okay, the fuel coal. When I told you in the previous lecture, when we used coal to make tikkas for our tikka party, they give that coal produce the heat. So the fuel we used actually produced is actually used to produce heat, and that heat actually convert water into the steam. Okay, that heat convert water into the steam. Here is the figure. The fuel is used to convert water into the steam by using the heat of the fuel. Okay, so this steam is used to run the steam turbine. Here we have the steam turbines, and this steam moves at high pressure and it runs the steam turbines, which turns later on, these turbines turn on the generators and which produce electricity. And here after, when these turbines turns on or move the generators, and these generators produce electricity, which we get at our homes, at factories, or any plaza, whatever the area would be, we get electricity after production from the generator. Now, hydropower stations or hydroelectric power station, whenever we use the word hydropower station, it means we will use water. So in this case, the water stored in a high dam, okay, the gravitational potential energy of water stored high up in the dam is used. So when water is stored in the dam, that water has gravitational potential energy, and this energy of water is used to run the turbines. So when this water moves with a high pressure, look at this, at the dam, and it rotates the turbine, it turns the turbine, and these turbines further rotate the generators or turn the generators, and then the generator produce electricity in the same way. Now the energy production, there are some problems. The first one, we have the efficiency problem. Efficiency, efficiency is basically the output we get from some input. In thermal power stations, more energy than we produce. Okay, sorry, I missed one thing. More energy lost actually, rather than the produce. If we produce 100%, out of 100%, more than 50% energy is lost at thermal power station. So the waste is in the form of cooling water and waste gases, and the efficiency in this case is around, in thermal power station is about 35%. So in other words, if we produce 100 joules of energy, out of 100 joules, only 35% we will get that energy, and remaining will be the lost in energy loss in generators, energy loss to turn the power stations, or energy loss in turbines as well. So around 65% energy will be lost at generators, turbines, and run the power station as well. Okay. Now later on, the another problem is which is the more bad news regarding burning of fossil fuels, oil, gas, and petrol or coal. These produce acid rains and carbon dioxide, and they will increase the burning of fossil fuel, increase the carbon dioxide in atmosphere. Similarly, water used at hydropower plants and power station warm during the energy production, and that is often dumped into the river. If you remember the previous figure, look here, water is dumped into the river, and when that during this time when water is used, this water, the temperature of water increases, and that water then goes to the river or the sea. So that water is dumped into the local river or the sea. This increases the water temperature, and that can cause a serious change in to these ecosystems. Okay, so that will damage the life of all the animals or plants live inside the water in rivers or in the sea. I hope you learned a lot from this video. This chapter is finished now. In next lecture we will discuss about pressure and movement. If you have any problem, you can discuss with me. Thank you very much. Stay blessed.